Three separate Democrats, aka hypocrites, just admitted on camera everything that you and I knew for a very, very long time on how these guys win elections and avoid getting real jobs. And the funny, ironic thing is they are three of the most prominent Democrats who continually say that there's no such thing as crime in their city or state. Mayor Brandon Johnson, Government Pritzker, and Gavin Gaseous Newsom. Check out these clips and then come on back. I've got a whole lot more.
It's definitely not about the crime. I just want to simplify and reiterate for everybody watching, or any of these cities he's going after where crime has been coming down because of the actions of local communities, as you said. Now, Governor Pritzker offered an interesting theory for what this is all about. I just want to play that for you and get your reaction on the other side.
This is a part of his plan to do something really nefarious, which is to interfere with elections in 2026. He wants to have troops on the ground to stop people from voting, to intimidate people from going to the voting booth. So take note. That is what this is all about.
Well, I thought that was so interesting. I've been saying it's about normalizing military in the streets, which I definitely think that's part of it. But what do you think about this idea that it's actually about the next election?
Well, let me just, first of all, let's just say it. You know, the president has already made it very clear that he does not want another election.
Jim Psaki finds it interesting. Boy, listening to Mayor Brandon Johnson is one of the most excruciating. They're all insufferable. But man, oh man, that guy just oozes. You can see the BS just oozing out of his pores. If you actually believe anything that Mayor Brandon Johnson says, you've got some serious, you need to look inward. You need to find some resolutions quickly because you have a malnourishment, a deficiency in your soul. They just admit it. First of all, why would ICE agents at polling, which actually, I don't know about you, let me know in the comments. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think that's a good thing to have ICE agents at the polling stations to avoid having non-citizens, people who are not supposed to be here, especially criminals, voting in the most important elections of our lifetimes, any election for that matter. But particularly, specifically, what's been happening over the last 5 to 10 years. For crying out loud, why would you be worried at all about ICE agents being at the polling stations? How does that dissuade anybody who has the lawful legal right to vote in U.S. elections from going out to the voting booth? Somebody explain that to me, because on the other hand, I think it's a great thing to have ICE there. As a matter of fact, I want more law enforcement officials on our streets, everywhere where there's voting booths, to make sure that to maintain our integrity. This isn't a partisan thing. This shouldn't have any opposition whatsoever. There should be zero opposition to getting rid of crime, cleaning up our streets, making our communities safe for Americans, and there should be zero partisanship when it comes to maintaining our elections and making sure that they're fair, they're honest, and they're true, and that only citizens vote. Is this like some kind of a right-wing nut job conspiracy? Let me know what you think. I'm dead serious. Let me know what you think in the comments. You had two there, Pritzker and Johnson. Listen to Newsom right here.
In LA, do you think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that. Everybody knows what's at stake, so we have to put a stake in the ground and do things differently.
I just don't understand it. What do you mean, chill participation? How in the world can ICE or any law enforcement official chill participation? It's like saying that it's the same BS narrative. They're taking innocent people off the streets. There's their new talking points. They're separating families from their children, from their mom and dad. They're taking people off the street. It couldn't be further from the truth. It's very simple. If you're here illegally, you're breaking the law. Do you guys not believe in law and order? Well, just take a look at their cities. Of course, they don't believe in law and order. And then they also say, Mayor Brandon Johnson, look at this headline right here, August 31st today. Happy Labor Day weekend, by the way, everybody, if you're watching this currently, as of this recording. Chicago shootings. This is not in 1 month. This is not in 1 week. Chicago shootings, at least 35 shot, 5 fatally in Labor Day weekend gun violence. This is just happening this weekend. 35 and 5 unalived and gone. And these guys say we don't want tanks. Mayor Johnson now saying we don't want tanks this is unwarranted. This is a military occupation. I shared with you the video yesterday of all of these Chicago residents saying we're dying to have Trump come here. I mean, testimony after testimony, interview after interview, survey after survey, all these residents. Why would it chill participation? Why do you guys constantly fight for criminals? You know why, and I know why, and they just admitted the quiet part out loud. If they actually got rid of crime, they would never win another election again because criminals are their voter base, which is why they let in tens and millions of criminals, rapists, drug cartel members, terrorists, gangsters, thugs during the Biden-Kamala administration. Kamala had one task. She was supposed to be the border czar, and she was appointed that early in 2021 by Joe Biden, the vegetable in chief, and Border Patrol Union said, we never once, get this, we never once saw Kamala. She never once visited the border. We all saw that famous Lester Holt clip where she said, I'm going to the, oh God. We didn't dodge a bullet, folks. We dodged a nuke. 35 shot in one Labor Day weekend. Shame on you, Mayor Brandon Johnson. Shame on you, Governor Pretzel. Shame on you, Gavin Newsom. They just admitted. This is the one to share, everybody. This is the one you need to tap the thumbs up. You need to share this with everybody you know. We need to make common sense go viral now. Do it. Here's President Trump posting this, and he was ridiculed and mocked by Governor Pretzel and Mr. Mayor Black Lives Matter Johnson. 6 people were killed and 24 people were shot in Chicago last weekend. And J.B. Pritzker, the weak and pathetic governor of Illinois, just said that he doesn't need help in preventing crime. He is crazy. He better straighten it out fast or we're coming. And by the way, Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Noem has already said we're on our way to Chicago. So good news, Chicago residents. If you're happy about that, give me a huge yeah in the comments down below. I'm going to share a video of Mayor Brandon Johnson being confronted in a press conference for being a race hustler. You're going to absolutely love this. But first, I want to share, this is a 2021 article that I think absolutely sums up Newsom perfectly. I just want to read it. It's just a page and a half. Perhaps the fact that he entered politics was via nepotism and not by winning actual elections left an impression on Newsom that he was different, special. Despite his razor-thin margin in his first real race against a political nobody, despite the fact that it took the biggest lights in his party and millions in outside spending to carry him across the finish line against that nobody, perhaps in the back of his mind, he decided he didn't really need the pesky voters in the first place. He certainly behaved accordingly. Newsom quickly ensnared himself in multiple scandals and unforced errors, including an affair with his best friend and campaign manager's wife, another affair with a 19-year-old cocktail waitress to whom he was photographed handing a glass of wine at a taxpayer-funded event. These are all true and verified and fact-checked. A well-publicized and abbreviated stint in rehab, he later claimed he, quote, didn't need, and a near-complete collapse of his relationship with city workers, especially the police and cable car operators. When I say he's been an abysmal failure his entire life, I'm not exaggerating, folks. Local news is filled with stories about San Francisco's crisis of confidence and downward spiral, with the Chronicle wondering, quote, where is Mayor McDreamy? His first term was bereft of substance to the point that the paper observed searching Gavin Newsom and hair on Google reveals 86,900 articles. Well, how many times have I said this in his nation? He's a haircut that passes for a man. Gavin and Newsom and Muniz yields just 81,700. Then again, that probably says as much about the media as the governor. But still, as George W. Bush might have said, it was a heck of a first term. Meanwhile, the city's increasingly dystopian poverty, homelessness, addiction, and crime crises spiraled out of control throughout his mayorship, even as the tech industry pushed living expenses to mind-numbing levels, presaging the statewide crises that metastasized on his watch as lieutenant governor and governor. As lieutenant governor, he was nearly invisible, a fact that has as much to do with thankless nature of the job as with Newsom himself. Still, for 8 years, he seemed content to collect his taxpayer checks and spend his time building the necessary war chest and machinery to run for governor and presumably president. He didn't make a name for himself, championed no causes, took no risks. It's a safe bet that no one in California, including Newsom himself, can name a single accomplishment in those years, an unforced error of its own. Everyone knew he was going to run for governor, mostly just because he was there and he was content to bide his time in the wings. As governor, well, choose a scandal du jour. His $30 billion EDD fiasco, his $1 billion deal for Chinese manufactured coronavirus masks with a company that had been in existence for less than 2 weeks, his lies about increasing the state's woeful wildfire prevention and fighting budget as conflagrations engulfed the northern part of the state, allegations of another affair with a staffer, his Getty-supported winery receiving nearly $1 million in federal coronavirus relief funds, and of course, the infamous French Laundry incident. This is an article by Christopher Legrasse, and I think this is absolutely a perfect expose, a perfect summation of an abysmal failure, and this is why I want everyone to write "Never Newsom" in the comments. His staff, his people, even Caroline Leavitt, the White House, Stephen Miller, they all watch this show. Tell them how you think. Let them know how you feel. Give them feedback. My vote, you don't have to listen to me, never Newsom. Okay. I just want to play this. I love this guy, Ted Williams. He's a fantastic, passionate man, reporter, lived in Chicago for over 30 years, worked in Chicago for over 30 years. Watch him call out to Mayor Brandon Johnson's face who he really is and what true Chicagoans think of him. Enjoy this beautiful treat in this quick 2-minute clip. Watch.
Yeah.
Please turn the mic on. Thank you. Real Chicagoans woke up this morning relieved that the Department of Justice is finally investigating your race hustle. As someone who grew up on the south side of Chicago, I've heard a lot of race hustlers in my life, trust me, but they were usually marching around outside of City Hall, which is what makes this so embarrassing and dangerous. Very, very dangerous to the city of Chicago.
Okay, we need the question.
I'm more than happy to ask this question. It's long overdue. For over a year, real Chicagoans, white and black, have been telling me that your black power rhetoric is bringing the city backwards from a place that
we need the question.
Had overcome. You want the question?
Please.
Real Chicagoans want to know, why are you a racist?
Well, first of all, I reject the idea and the premise that somehow that's an actual legitimate question.
You want that?
All right, we're going to go to the next one. Alice?
The next question, my follow-up question is a businessman, Robert Gomez, had his riverfront restaurant license yanked. You said that the reason you hire black people is because they're the most generous race on the planet. His riverfront restaurant license was yanked and given to a black restaurateur. That has, once again, reinforced the belief among real Chicagoans,
okay,
white and black and Mexican, that you are a racist. What do you say to those people?
Again, I reject the premise that somehow that your question has any legitimacy. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. We'll go to Alice.
Thank you.
Oh, Mayor Brandon Black Power only Johnson, you want some legitimacy? I think doth do profess too much. Here is a clip that will prove the verification and legitimacy of reporter William Kelly's question. Here is a clip of Mayor Johnson where he's at the Apostolic Church of God in Woodlawn. That reveals exactly what reporter William Kelly just said about him, where he said, based on his own words, he says there is race-based discrimination taking place and people and businesses are being harmed by his racist and prejudicial practices. Listen to him here, right here. Admit it in front of everybody at the Apostolic Church of God.
And one thing that I know for sure that I have to do over these next 2 years, every single dime that our people have been robbed of, I want to make sure that that is returned 2, 3-fold, because I believe in something called press down, running over. That is what we have to make sure that happens within our community.
Real Chicagoans, just like real Americans, are sick and tired of this DEI woke, race hustle, race baiting, Al Sharpton, making everything about some arbitrary pigmentation of your skin. We don't care what color you are. We don't care what gender you are. We don't care what you do in the privacy of your own homes. We just want common sense, real American values and principles back, which is why you guys are defying the American people every time you defy President Trump. If you earn the position, if you earn whatever it is, fantastic. That is the American way. And if you're with me, help me out. The mission of our channel is to make common sense go viral. You can help by doing things that don't cost you anything, like tapping that thumbs up, leaving a comment, sharing this with everybody that you know so we can help sustain America and that our grandkids' grandkids' grow up in America that makes sense, the America that you and I grew up in. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here just in case you missed them. You can tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It's free. And as always, may God bless you and may God bless the United States of America and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.